Welcome to LanguageHelp. Today we'll try to answer an IELTS Cue Card. We'll show you our effective 4-box method, and you can use this method to answer any cue card. We'll discuss vocabulary and we'll show you an example answer. Subscribe, hit the bell icon, and let's get to business. In case this is your first time, let me tell you about IELTS Cue Cards. When you do the second part of the IELTS Speaking Test, you'll be given a piece of paper with a question written on it. This is what's called a cue card. You'll be given an empty paper, a pencil, and only 1 minute to structure and organize your answer. After the minute is over, you're supposed to speak on the topic for about 2 minutes. And then you'll answer 1 or 2 follow-up questions. Not all questions will be familiar to you, and you're not expected to tell the truth. So you can lie as much as you want, if you want to, that is. Bikes, private cars, taxis, buses, trains, metros, planes are all what we call modes of transportation. In today's example, the cue card question is to describe a trip you made by public transport. This limits our answer to modes of transportation used by the public. So you need to think of a time you shared a cab or you went on a flight. Let's see the cues and design our answer. The first cue is when and where you went. Well, the tense of the cue is in the past. Similarly, our answer will be in the past. But we'll also need the present tense to talk about our occupation. Think of vocabulary related to places, trips, journeys. For our example answer, we chose to talk about a conference we participated in on behalf of some company 2 years ago. The second cue asks us to talk about what kind of transportation we use. The first step is always to establish the tense. In this case, we'll use the past tense. We need to think of vocabulary to describe modes of transportation. And for our answer, we chose to take a taxi, a private taxi, and we'll talk about why we made that choice during our answer. The third cue asks us to talk about how the trip was. Well, the tense of this cue is also the past, so we also put that in the box. Here we have to talk about our feelings and experience. So we can talk about the driver, we can talk about the trip, or any stops we made during the trip. The fourth and final cue is to explain why you chose to use public transport. The tense is the past tense, and we need to build an argument and give reasons for our choice. So think of advantages, disadvantages. In our example, we chose a specific mode of transportation because it felt comfortable, and we arrived fresh and ready for business. If you're following with the exercise, your paper should look something like this. Now that the box is ready and you're ready to speak, remember not to look at your notes for too long. So try to maintain eye contact with your examiner. Try to give an equal amount of time to each cue. And remember to use unfamiliar vocabulary, a few collocations, idioms, and a mix of tenses if you can. Use these correctly or not at all, because you need to stay on the safe side. Before we start with the answer, remember to subscribe and click the bell icon to receive all updates on our IELTS speaking course. You can also pause here if you want to try on your own, and then you can come back and compare. Now here's our example answer. The cue is when and where you went. Our answer is, my line of work is marketing. I designed the company's marketing strategies and promote it. 2 years ago, I had to travel to a conference to represent my company in a city 200 kilometers away from where I live. It was a professional conference on digital commerce marketing, where representatives of many companies met and discussed boosting sales and campaign tactics. Line of work and line of business are two collocations that mean specialty or what I do for a living. To design is to plan or to make. When you promote a thing, you either develop it or endorse it, so your aim is to further its progress. A conference is a formal meeting of people. It can be academic, political, or any other type. To represent is to act or speak for someone in an official or legal capacity. To boost is to increase, and a campaign is an organized activity with a specific aim. It can be a business campaign, a political campaign, or even a military campaign. The next cue is what kind of transport you used. Our answer is, I had a difficult time deciding on what mode of transportation to choose. The city was neither far enough to warrant a flight, nor close enough to take a taxi. Additionally, on long journeys, I usually require frequent stops to freshen up and move my body. After consulting friends and family, I was advised to use the services of a new taxi company that offers services that are both cheap and custom-made. So I booked a taxi with them and off I went. To have a difficult time doing something is when you have trouble doing it. Mode of transportation is a collocation, which means type of transportation. These words often come together. Neither nor is a conjunction that connects two or more negative alternatives. To warrant is to call for, require, or need. To consult is to ask others for their opinions. Custom-made is something that is made or done for a particular customer. Off I went is an idiom that means go away. The next cue is how the trip was. Our answer is, on the journey day, the driver showed up on time. He was a pleasant young fellow who helped me carry my bag to the trunk. The trip lasted for about 5 hours. We stopped 3 times for food and whatnot. The driver began the journey with a bit of small talk on current issues, which I did not mind. After some time, he respected my silence as I watched the countryside through the window. When we arrived, I tipped him and he helped me carry my baggage into the lobby. It was a very pleasant experience and I rated the guy 5 stars on the company's cell phone application. On time, on day, these words are collocations. We say help me carry, we don't say help me to carry. What not means etc. A bit of small talk is a collocation. Also talk is uncountable, so you need a modifier like a bit of to talk about small portions of this talk, because it doesn't have a singular form. To rate is to assess or to value. And when talking about cell phone applications, to rate is to give someone from 1 to 5 stars depending on the quality of the service they render. The final cue is to explain why you chose to use public transport. Our answer is, I usually opt for public transport over driving my private car when I'm on duty, for many reasons. While it is true that the company pays for gas and provides travel money, I do not feel comfortable driving for long distances. I usually arrive tired and unfit for business deals and presentations. So from my experience, I can tell you that if you want to arrive ready to meet potential customers and close deals, you're better off with public transport. To opt for is to choose. Opt always comes with for, not with to. When someone is on duty, they are actively engaged in an assigned task. Unfit is when something is out of condition, out of shape, in poor condition. A potential customer is a customer who is likely to sign a contract with you or buy something from you based on your engagement with them, because potential in general means having or showing the capacity to develop into something in the future. When you're better off with or without something, it means you'll be in a more desirable or advantageous position. So there you have it. What was your public transport experience like? Let us know what you think in the comments. Subscribe and press the bell and be ready for our next cue card.